Hello, and welcome to episode 166 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, we have guest Nicole Roe, and let me tell you a little more about her. Nicole is a tastemaker and authentic lifestyle creator, and is founder and creative force behind Nixon Interiors, a boutique design firm known for blending bold, elevated aesthetics with real-life functionality. With over 15 years of experience in construction and design, Nicole holds a degree in building construction from Georgia Tech and has an extensive working knowledge of all aspects of the construction process. Her technical expertise, combined with an eye for expressive design, allows her to bring each client's personal brand to life in their home. Whether it's one of many or their forever space, Nicole's clients are busy professionals who value exceptional design and trust her to deliver spaces that are both impressive and intentionally crafted. Nicole believes in the power of design to elevate everyday life. From full home renovations to curated interiors, her goal is always to create spaces that function beautifully and feel deeply aligned with her clients' lives. With a deep love for vintage treasures, adrenaline-fueled hobbies, and spa days alike, Nicole brings an inspiring duality to her work, equal parts grounded and adventurous. Under her leadership, Nixon Interiors continues to redefine boutique design service with bold vision, next-level creativity, and an unwavering commitment to functional luxury. I know you're going to enjoy this conversation, so let's get into it. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Hi, Nicole. Welcome to Design Curious Podcast. It's great to have you on today.
I am really excited to be here.
Yeah. And I just am very curious about your journey. I love what I've learned about so far. So let's start way back when you decided to become an interior designer. How did you get started?
I think, like a lot of us, we realize, young in our life that we are affected by our surroundings. We care about our surroundings. You've heard it a dozen or more times of the moving furniture around, painting the walls, really trying to figure out as a young child what we wanted our ideal space to look like. Mine might have included puff paint on my glass sliding mirror doors, but also some of the other things as you get older and transition into college and your first apartments, and you realize you like a moodier bedroom or you like your furniture laid out a certain way. But even at this point, the career of interior design wasn't something that was on my radar. I wasn't aware that it could be a full career.
Mm-hmm.
Had known decorators growing up that mostly focused on the pillows and the paint and the window treatments, but they were all almost kind of side projects or hobbyists and not full-blown interior design firm owners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just had a conversation last night with another mom from school, and she knows I'm an interior designer, but she's like, oh, I have this friend who needs help with the design and the layout of the plan. Is that what you do, or is that a contractor? I'm like, no, that's like the main part of what I do, not just the finishes. A lot of people just aren't aware of the full scope of what interior design entails.
I agree. I have found so much of what we do is education because you go to the dentist, you understand what the dentist does. You go to a psychologist, you understand what a psychologist does. You hire a gardener, you understand. Like, those services make sense. But interior designers have, a range of what each designer is capable of or desires to do, but it's still so many unknowns of what an interior designer does to the general population.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you weren't aware that it was a career. So then how did you start becoming an interior designer?
Yeah, so I went to Georgia Tech, enrolled as an engineering student. After a couple of back and forth of what I really wanted my degree to be, I landed on building construction.
Mm.
Building construction falls under the College of Architecture. So you have the ability to take architecture classes, you took furniture design classes, you took history of art classes, all of these little touch points of interior design that at the time I didn't fully realize that's what I was drawn to. I had a great internship opportunity with a mixed use developer who had hired an interior design firm. So as the intern, this firm would come in with drawings and materials and fabrics, wearing boots, walking job sites. And as someone who was being educated to be a project manager for construction, I was like, I actually really love what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sector wasn't the path I really wanted to take. Those early mornings, high stress, weekends, interior designers, if set up appropriately, have the ability to roll into a job site at 9 a.m., and not at 6:30 a.m. for a concrete pour.
Right.
Learning about interiors, learning how that can be a flexible career for a mom and a wife really was kind of magical. And like a lot of designers, it started small. I didn't open my doors and say, I'm doing multi-million-dollar new builds. It was paint consultations. It was bookcase stylings. It was just all of those entry points. But each client, each referral, each relationship brought something larger and more in depth. And we just kept saying yes. And fast forward 8 years, we have a design studio, a warehouse, and a team of really great team members.
Wow. Okay. So that's kind of how you started scaling. Tell me about that, the logistics of scaling. Like, I know you said that you just started saying yes to more opportunity, but then there's a hurdle you have to overcome, right? When you're growing and scaling like that.
Yes, I think when I realized that my best design work was happening at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., husband and kids had been asleep for hours because that was the only time I had to sit down and design, because the days were full of ordering and tracking and job sites where there was never these large blocks of time during the day that I could sit and design. I realized I started needing additional people. Starting with interns is great because they're only there for 3 months. So you can try out a lot on them of your management style and really how you want your firm to operate, then allowing them to become design assistants, hiring procurement. For us, it's a warehouse assistant, slowly adding these people and really figuring out the direction we want to go. But it's scary, having payroll every week for 5 people and lease on a building and really trying to figure out where your money's coming from is a lot.
Yeah. And I noticed when you started out your Nicole Roe Design, then you switched the name of the company to Nixon Design. Is that right?
Yes. So we are now our Nixon Interiors.
Interiors. Okay.
When we began, I was the one-woman show. I got on Fiverr and typed in Nicole Roe Design and asked somebody to make me a logo for $29, 8 years ago. And the naivety of me was, I'm going to be a one-woman show. I'm going to take on small projects. Having, a logo and a bank account was honestly all I thought I needed. Never in my mind did I think I'm going to have a logo on the side of a van or there's going to be a team member. But as we grew and I knew we were moving out of my home into an office, this was a little over 3 years ago, I realized that I didn't want my name on the side of a building. I didn't want my name on the side of a van. I wanted team members to really take pride and ownership in the company, and showing up as one of them to a job site. It was always, well, where's Nicole? Where's Nicole? It's Nicole Roe Design. Why is Nicole not here? But with the rebrand, it gives everybody else a little bit more power within the company to take ownership and show up, because it's not Nicole Roe Design. It's our Nixon Interiors. And, who the heck is our Nixon is the question we always joke.
Yeah.
Telemarketers have no idea who our Nixon is, which is hilarious. But also, I wanted a name that was elevated, a name that could almost play in a bunch of different arenas, wasn't super feminine, a little masculine, kind of we love the play of like, who is our Nixon? And our Nixon really is everyone. It's our clients. It's who our clients strive to be. It's whatever vibe they want to be. It's so personalized, but it's still a play on my name. So it still
Yeah.
feels really special to me. My last name's Roe.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the R. And then Nixon, I was Nicole Erickson before I got married. So we
Oh,
kind of
okay.
just smashed it
Yeah.
together. But the logo is fun. It looks like just a fun little brand if you
Mm-hmm.
just have the pill shape. So I really think starting as my name was great. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely am proud of what we did. But for new designers, really thinking through if your firm becomes a firm, if your brand becomes something larger, yes, of course, you have Amber Lewis and all these, names, Kelly
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wursler, that are their name, but really deciding, do you want it to be your name or do you want it to be something else, like Alice Lane Interiors, for example,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Unless you really listen to their podcasts or stalk their social media, you may not know who the owner is and you wouldn't know which designer is coming out or talking to you. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So Alice Lane Interiors could technically send one of 20 designers and the client is not any wiser.
Mm-hmm. I love that approach. I think that's a thought a lot of people who coming through my mentorship program, they're thinking about like, I have to pick a name that's going to last forever. But you don't, I mean, you do need to think about that, but you also don't know where your dream wants to take you too. So like you started out Nicole Roe Design, but then you pivoted. How hard was it to rebrand and change your name? If
I
if
will
if someone does want to do that later on.
I will say I don't ever want to do it again. We
Okay.
will be our Nixon Interiors, like that will be on my headstone, like when I die. No, I was a little naive to what that entailed. I
Hmm.
understood that you could be a DBA. So that
Hmm.
makes a whole lot of sense. All of our bank accounts and a lot of our furniture accounts are still Nicole Roe Design. We have to clarify with the vendor what that means. Like when we go to High Point Market, they're like, you don't have an account. I'm like, oh, we are actually Nicole Roe Design. UPS and FedEx and all of them know we're both.
Okay.
One of the tricky parts was converting all of like our Google Drive over
Mm.
to the new. I have since learned there's way easier ways to do it. But at that very moment, I didn't want to spend all the money. I didn't know any better. AI didn't exist. So you couldn't
Yeah.
just get in Chat GPT and be like, how do I do this?
Right.
So we unfortunately lost some files and some stuff didn't happen as easily as I liked.
Mm.
We lost our Google page because once again, it was tricky to change it all.
Yeah.
What I didn't know with your Google business page, if you get on and change everything, they think you've been hacked.
Oh,
So they shut you
yes.
down.
Wow. I didn't think about that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what I have since learned for anyone out there that if you move, don't change your address, don't do any of that until your signage is up and all of your proof of life is there. So you can do the video walkthroughs, or else they're going to think you got hacked if you change, some of the
Mm-hmm.
key important things. So
Mm-hmm.
losing Google reviews is hard when there's really no way of getting them back. So definitely taking it slow, but don't be fearful of rebranding. If your new direction, if you no longer want to be some super sweet name or some super specific name and you want to rebrand, do it. It
Mm-hmm.
just might be worth investing in someone to help you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good advice. Yeah. I was curious about that part of it because people ask all the time. And I know it is challenging endeavor, but you did it. But it's like it probably could have been done. So maybe people could reach out and ask you for some
Yes, of
tips if
course.
they decide that they want to do that. So I want to touch back on you started out with engineering, building construction degree, and then going into entrepreneurship. Both of those areas are male dominated industries. You mentioned also with our Nixon interiors, it's a little more masculine. Let's talk a little bit about how the gender plays into being an interior designer in this today's
Yeah.
age.
Yes. No, I think it's a great question because right now, one of the hot topics is masculine energy versus feminine energy and when to bring both into your design firm, even. The
Hmm.
feminine energy, is the creative work, the really inspired work, the partnering with females. But the masculine energy and entrepreneurship is something you do have to hone in on. And as someone who works with contractors and trades all day, and a lot of our clients are males as well. And then, I have my husband and we have 4 boys. So my life is very male dominant.
Yeah.
I love a spa day. I love the opportunity to get away from that. But I think interior designers so often can have a bad reputation. There's so many words that have been used to describe designers that may not have had a good experience with trades or contractors. And I think we all just kind of have to step back and realize, like, what energy do we need to bring to that moment? Is this a time for the masculine energy? Do we need to stand firm, or do we need to just have a solution and work with everyone? Because what we do, if the trades or the tile guy aren't on our team, and excited to work with us, it's going to be impossible.
Yeah, for sure. So it does take getting to have that confidence on the job site and everything, so that they'll listen to you and just value your credibility, what you're bringing. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think having the degree in construction gives me an interesting perspective because a lot of designers are so new to the world of construction and there's so much to learn. I still learn stuff on a daily basis. Right now, I actually have an electrician and my tile guys at my own house, like literally directly behind me. And we're trying to work through some stuff for our projects. And designers, one thing I love to tell them is do projects at your home, even if your budget isn't that of your clients. Like mine is not. But you can experiment, you can learn, you can have the trades really tell you all the things and figure it out and do things that you may not have the confidence to do at a client's house yet in your own home. And I think that alone, yes, you can use the photos and the stuff for social media, but it also just is a really good lesson on, learning your skills and building relationships with the trades.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Like going back and forth with the trades, even if you have a good relationship with your trade, they might make a suggestion or have a preference for doing it a certain way that that it's not going to work for your design, but you might be hesitant to tell them because they have more experience than you. So learning how to talk with them, going back and forth, understanding why, and then maybe even soliciting for your design in the end as the right solution. All that takes practice, and doing it in front of a client is hard to do. So if you can do it in your own home and navigate that and get experience doing that, I think that's a great idea.
No, it really is because we can make beautiful elevations. Pre-demo, we draw all the things, we have everything designed exactly how you want it. Then they tear open the walls. And my house is a great example. We didn't realize the stairs were going through the old bathroom vanity. Like literally there's a ramp in the back of the vanity. And I had no idea. Like we had never pulled open the back of the cabinet door. We just assumed it was a false back because it was built in the 60s. But sitting there with the plumber and the framer and the demo guy and everybody, the tile installer, to be like, what can we do to make this work? And we all had solutions. We all had great solutions. But in the end, it was like, okay, your idea plus your idea is what we're going to roll with. But like you said, doing that in front of clients sometimes isn't great because they can lose confidence in really odd things, even though there's nothing to lose confidence about, because they just assume you should have the answer before the walls are open. But we all know that is not the case.
Right. Yeah, I love troubleshooting on the spot, but the client really shouldn't be there for that. Yeah. Okay. So that's really good that you have that background. Do you recommend that designers take any construction classes or courses, or like how would you recommend a designer who maybe didn't have that degree in building construction to kind of get some exposure to a little bit more for just understanding construction?
Of course, I'm sure there's classes online. I'm sure you could hop onto YouTube, but a lot of that would take a lot of time. I would say boots on the ground, go to job sites often and talk to everybody, ask questions. I've been up in attics. I've climbed on ladders. I show up to concrete pours because we want to know. And they like to tell you. There's nothing more than, a man telling you why he framed something, the way he did. But then you're learning. And then the next time you go, you can ask even more questions and learn more details and figure it out. And I don't want to say no question's a dumb question, but it really is like being like, oh, why did you run the plumbing here? Why is this in the ground? Why is this off center when I thought the faucet was centered on the wall? And they can explain, oh, well, because of the cabinet, the P-trap has to, veer off to the left
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, or why is there plywood here? I think just asking the questions and showing up more often and not showing up like in high heels with a clipboard about to yell
Yeah.
at everybody, but really showing up to learn, people really respect that.
Yeah. And understanding that asking questions doesn't mean that they're going to, like you said, that they want to share that information with you. They're not going to think less of you, probably. They love that you're asking and that you want to know. So don't worry about asking those questions. Just go for it. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
So how many people do you have working right now at your firm or in your
So,
production?
yeah, no, of course. So in staff, we have myself. So I operate as the founder and the lead designer, as well as the many hats that we
Mm-hmm.
wear. I then have a designer who does all the technical drawings. She does a lot of the sourcing and kind of putting everything together, as well as some project management, depending on the project. Then we have our operations specialist. So she handles really all the back end, the procurement, the tracking, the vendor communication, any of the office stuff that needs to get worked out. Then we have our brand coordinator who also does some personal assistant, executive assistant roles for me as well, manages social media, manages back end, just really helps with all the other things. We tend to always have an intern. Ours just rolled off and went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have our warehouse assistant who really manages the back of the house. Whenever we get deliveries, we do our own receiving.
Oh,
So
okay.
he will open the packages, inspect them, document them, repackage them, and place them in the warehouse where they need to go till install day.
Then who delivers? If you have a receiving, but then do you have your own team delivering as well?
No, we actually partnered with a moving company that's right up the road from us.
Oh,
So
okay.
they handle all that. Looking into it, the logistics of having that many people like under you in the insurances don't really
Yeah.
make sense. So having the ability to hire out and hire the number of people, some installs, you want 6 movers there and 2 trucks. We could never have that on staff.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice that you have that room though for receiving and holding that all in-house. So
Yes, it doesn't come without challenges, but we are located in a little bit smaller of a town where the closest receiving warehouse is an hour away.
that's
So
hard. Yeah.
explaining to clients your items are in Orlando, your items are in Tampa, and they're going to stay there for the next 4 months was really challenging. And with the price of receiving was really high. So we actually charge a procurement fee, which includes the ordering and the in-house
Mm-hmm.
receiving and warehousing.
Okay, great. So do you have plans to scale larger if opportunity presents itself?
Yes. By the time this episode actually airs, it should be the week that we're moving into our new design studio.
Great.
We've made the decision to separate the design studio and the warehouse. We've realized we need more studio space and we need more warehouse space. And looking at the options available on the market, there wasn't anything that felt like our Nixon Interiors design studio, elevated client experience with a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's more warehousing district. So we have made the decision to separate. We're on the hunt for where our warehouse space is going to be. We currently have about 2,000 square feet, which if you can visualize, that's like 2 full houses of furniture can comfortably fit, or, a few smaller projects. We're looking for about 4,000, 5,000 square feet.
Okay. Yeah, that'll allow you to have all your projects going at the same time for ordering
Yes.
furniture. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. So any other ways you see your brand scaling? Like, have you thought about retail or having a shop or online? I know you have a podcast though. So you
Yes.
want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we have the podcast season 1 wrapped up this spring. It's called Highly Affected by Her Surroundings. You can kind of tell by the title. As designers, we really are affected by the spaces around us. And it was a really fun opportunity to connect with other designers, but as well as like brands and luxury builders. One of our last episodes was with a South Asian wedding planner, coordinator, and like $1 million weddings. And, the overlap between weddings and interiors is really close.
Yes.
So the podcast has been a really fun opportunity to have those conversations. Season 2, we should be about halfway through season 2 when this airs as well. But send me a DM. We'd love to have more guests on the show as well. But as for retail, I am not someone that gets super excited by that idea. I know the
Yeah.
logistics. I've had friends that have done it. Do I love to buy things? Do I love vintage? Do I love all that? Yes. Are we going to probably have, warehouse sales and some similar pop-ups? Of course. It's just the nature. I think there's some really great designers who have really done a good job with e-commerce. They've had the brand and the backing, and I love to see what they've curated. That's not necessarily in the plans for us. I think scaling larger projects, distance projects are definitely on our radar. But depending on the receiving warehouse, we'd love to receive for other designers. That's the goal, to allow. So many designers around me still aren't ordering wholesale. They're not doing all the things because of the challenges. And I would really like to be able to help them elevate their business.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Really is a better business model when you order the wholesale. So if that's holding them back, then what a great opportunity for you to help them out.
No, I think so.
Yeah. So how do you then stay up to date on latest trends, and what do you do to get inspired for your designs?
I think the trend word for so many people is triggering, for sure. And I think right now it's less about trends, but really more about lifestyle, personal branding, really who the individual client is. The past 5-10 years, there's been this back to trend and designers having one signature style. And I know on one of your podcasts a couple months ago, you talked about this as well, where it's that signature style is also getting a little tricky because clients are now ready to not just have the same style as their neighbor. They really want something tailored to them, their lifestyle, their family. So I think allowing designers that confidence to really pull that out of their clients and design a space that really works, both function and visually for the client, I think is really important.
Yeah, that's a great point of view. So is there any advice that you have for maybe designers starting out or wanting to get their own business that you haven't already shared? Because you've shared a lot of great advice.
No, I think your possibilities are endless. There's so much advice and so many courses. When I started, there was a couple podcasts that I listened to, but there wasn't the accessibility to all the information there is now. So I think really finding someone like you as a mentor or someone else that can guide you. But confidence is really huge. Do what you need to do to gain your own confidence, whether it is courses, whether it's projects at your own house, whether right now we're redoing like all our SOPs, because that is what we've realized right now. We know what we're doing. We're good at what we do. But whenever there's been an error, ideally not client facing, but whenever there's been an error, we've realized like that SOP there needs some modifications, or there wasn't one that was fully written up. So I think new designers really learning what SOPs they need, how they want their business to be, what their ideal client is, and not to be afraid to start small. I think there's so much advice out there on don't do this or don't do that, but baby stepping your way in on a small scale is not a bad idea.
Yeah, really good. Well, I think people are going to want to reach out to you. So why don't you share how they can do that and where they can find you?
Of course. So like I said earlier, we are R like the letter, Nixon, Nickson Interiors. We have a website that you can contact us through, but also Instagram. I think we're on LinkedIn, we're on Pinterest, we're on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel that we post on. So there's a lot of ways. Feel free to send a DM. Like I said, I have the podcast, Highly Affected by Her Surroundings, that's out. But it's really, designers need designer friends. Designers need contacts. So never be afraid to say hi.
Great. Yeah. And we'll put all those links in our show notes so people can easily find you. Thank you, Nicole, for coming on today. It's been great talking with you.
Yes, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
So we've included Nicole's contact information in the show notes if you'd like to reach out to her or see her portfolio. And don't forget that we have Launch Your Business Bootcamp coming up in January. The doors are opening December 1st. And so you can get in there, and don't forget it includes a full year membership to My Design Mentor. So you have that full learning platform and mentorship, but then you also have the 8-week Launching Your Business Bootcamp to go along with it. So it's really a great deal. You're going to really be inspired and have all the accountability you need to make 2026 your year for following your passion and starting your design business. I'd love to see you do that. You can get on the wait list. The link is in the show notes. I'd love to see you in there. That's all we have this week. Next week, we'll have another great episode. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.